Well, there are still a few hospitals still functioning in Aleppo, but after the killing of this pediatrician and the other at least 4 medical staff that have been killed in this airstrike, the situation for these children is even more worrisome for sure.
You mentioned one thing that I found interesting over the phone, and that is you think that this was a deliberate attack. Nick Robertson touched on that as well. Just explain to our audience why you think that.
Yes, so first of all, there were 2 barrel bombs that fell in buildings close to the hospital, causing already a lot of wounded people. And a few minutes later, when all these wounded people were being brought to the hospital and where all the relatives were in the gates of the hospitals trying to know how the relatives were doing, then the 3rd barrel bomb fell in the entrance of the hospital, killing tens of people. So this together with the fact that this hospital is very well known and has been there for many years, leads us to believe that there are many chances that this attack was deliberate.
So Russia's come out and just said that they're not responsible, they're not to blame. But you, Médecins Sans Frontières, you guys are calling for an independent investigation, is that correct?
Exactly. We cannot ascertain who was responsible. We know that barrel bombs were used, and it's usually the Syrian government who uses these barrel bombs, but whatever the case, this needs to be clarified, and we are officially asking for an independent investigation to clarify who is responsible and whether this was a deliberate attack on one more hospital in Aleppo.
And just looking at your bio, you've traveled to disaster zones around the world. As you know, these staff members, these doctors are working in unimaginable, unthinkable conditions. How does one go about keeping workers safe in a climate like this?
It is just impossible for an aid worker to be safe in Aleppo now. Aid workers, and especially medical staff, are specifically targeted in this war. So basically, those who are there are people who know that very likely they will just die under the bombs, but despite that, they have decided to stay there and to help their citizens.
So this was not rather a Médecins Sans Frontières hospital. This was a hospital that you supported, that the organization supported. So have you then increased your medical supplies, the amount of medical supplies you're sending to this hospital? Or the hospitals in the area,
yes,
I should say.
Yes, we have been supporting this hospital for many years now, since 2012, together with another 22 medical facilities in Aleppo. And in the last months, we have been increasing our support because we just wonder, we just were afraid that this will happen, that the offensive coming to Aleppo will happen, and we wanted these hospitals to be as ready as possible.
Staffan de Mistura, the UN Special Envoy to Syria, is talking about the fact that the cessation of hostilities is certainly fragile, that fighting is escalating. So what happens now? How do you move forward in terms of providing care in that kind of environment?
It's going to be extremely complicated because it seems that the Syrian government has stated publicly that they are willing to close the access to Aleppo and basically to take over the area and the control of the position. And we know that if this happens, bringing supplies or any other kind of help to Aleppo will be almost impossible. That's the reason we have been trying the last weeks to forward as many supplies as possible.